Let's take that again. The 5 words defining a filmmaker's life. It's full of unpredicted breaks, schedule conflicts, and even bloopers. It is what makes the art we call cinema. But in life, we rarely have the courage to reset the scene. We don't even try. For everyone who's listening, hi, I'm Rehan, and I used to be an avid and ambitious filmmaker when I was an eeny-weeny kid. Emphasis on the used to. Since the dawn of being me, I had been obsessed with movies and TV. When I was 4, I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning to watch my favorite Disney Channel show without a care in the world. For when I was in front of a screen and witnessing art in the form of a motion picture, I escaped into a world of stories, of culture, and at that age, a hefty load of laughs and smiles. Now, I don't know whether you'd call Mickey Mouse Clubhouse art, but for me, it was. My love for the silver screen just skyrocketed from there. Into my late single digits, I had fallen in love with making something as hilarious as Modern Family, or even something as gripping as The Conjuring, or something as simple as a cartoon, bringing a smile to mine and everybody else's busy life. When I was 10, I used to go to my best friend's house, as we all did, but we wouldn't spend hours talking or playing video games or basketball. Instead, we'd take his laptop and film ourselves playing characters, planting our first steps into the world of film. Now, the word film is a bit much for what we made. But let's just say what we made: the Rob store, the crazy detective's office, and the back alleyway where the final fight happens all surprisingly took place in the same dim little living room with the occasional background noise of my friend's mom calling us from downstairs. It wasn't Oscar-winning, but for us, it was everything. Whenever I'd go to his house, we'd spend all day making these 10-minute movies. It would go from a funny workplace comedy, where we would try to find as many shirts and ties as we could possibly get to make us look like rich CEOs, to even a murderous demon, aka me, with a face full of white makeup and Heinz ketchup dripping from my mouth, and my friend's sister ready to smack me with her dusty broom. But one day, we decided to hit it big when we discovered that Microsoft Photos had a video option that could lay special effects on top of our footage. Now, the two of us were huge superhero fans, so we thought of giving it a go. So we filmed this 2-minute video of 2 very unathletic boys throwing punches and kicking the air, and we put special effects on top of it. And a month later, we had a whole superhero franchise going on. As painful as it sounds, we called ourselves the Ultimates. I always played the villain with my Darth Vader cape and my yellow gardening glove that was a totally believable Infinity Gauntlet. And my friends played the slew of heroes with their hoodies and their painted-in domino masks ready to stop my wrath. We weren't earning $2 billion at the global box office, but we were the James Cameron and Steven Spielberg of our grade, at least in our heads. These silly movies that we made, full of stupid mistakes and laughable plots, always taught us to take risks and learn from our experiences. We thought we were unstoppable. But our little production company came crashing down as we encountered a global, bloodthirsty beast, COVID-19. Those days back in lockdown, I was yearning to make more film, to the point where I actually filmed myself playing inane characters and situations. One such example being me playing the entire judge panel and the terrible singer who decided to audition for America's Got Talent, and I'm not joking. I edited my craft, and I sent my pieces to my friends stuck at home. Exploring my creativity was my life's work. And my dreams of pursuing this as a professional just kept stacking and stacking up. While my dreams were reaching outer space, the meteorite of adolescence made impact. And so my dreams too came crashing down. I asked myself how long it would take for me to make these 2.5-hour movies when 10 minutes of screen time took me all week. When I told adults that I wanted to pursue this as my source of income, they all looked to me with confused smirks, asking me to grow up and start focusing on a stable 9-to-5. I even wondered how I would raise money and funds for my movies, let alone all the rejects that will likely come my way. These doubts turned into fear. And days later, I was already interrogating my career choice, let alone my skill and talent. I was determined to prove myself to all who keep doubting me and fight societal norms to death and show them that their way of thinking of me was weak. Their thoughts weren't wrong. They were backed up by years of experience and the rigid frames we all are put in as we attain age. I too grew in age. And I told myself that I would never be able to survive in this world with my bottle rocket dreams. So I too gave into the majority. And society, the very thing I hoped to contradict, consumed me. As we get old, it is often the case that societal norms take up space in our lives. The norm of shifting focus from childish behavior and dreaming big have been so deeply etched into our brains that we shut ourselves out. How many of you have thought that you had to let go of your innocence and your wonder just for you to grow up? It locks us up. It makes us think of society as the largest court in our world where everyone is the judge. These rigid frames we are put in turns into cages of fear. Fear to step out of adult bounds, fear to experience things out of the ordinary, fear to fall. But children, they may fall, but they will always pick themselves back up and learn from their experiences. Okay, quick question. How many of you have heard of the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche? Can I see a raise of hands? Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's more than I expected. So if you guys don't know him, you do now. So in his book, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he introduces the 3 metamorphoses of the spirit. Essentially, as how we grow older, our spirit takes 3 forms. The first being the child. Now, this represents our state of mind when you're around 5 to 10 years of age. As the child, we were free. We created. We were the sacred yes. Our lives were never a reactive struggle against opposing forces, but just a celebration of our talents and our powers. We only knew the joys in life and the innocence of pure creation. This was me, at the peak of my freedom. I never doubted what I put into society. I never asked myself whether my silly films would ever be laughed at by the public. Into our quest into adulthood, the child then turns into the camel. In our thirst to exploring aspects of adult life, it lets societal norms take hold of our consciences. This notion of thinking drives us into an abyss that slowly fills with fear, despair, and dissatisfaction. As the camel, I was cruel and restricting of myself, burdening myself with the weight of my future as an adult. I always wondered whether my talents would ever have an impact in this world and whether there was truly any purpose in the life that was given to me. The camel then turns into the lion, the king of beasts, determined to end societal norms and expectations. I was angry and so strong-willed to kill the torment, I too became the lion. At this stage of thinking, I thought that I had finally seen the harshness of reality, that life was far from a fantasy. But the lion in our lives will always face a bigger, more menacing dragon. The frames that have been nailed into our society, generation after generation, haunting the lion till the end of its days. Now, this may all seem very dark and grim to you, so let me tell you this. Nature has provided a philosophical heaven for us to enter into. Rebirth. You see, the child's state of mind not only represents our state of mind when we are a single digit of age. No. It represents true growth. It is when the lion in our lives is not vanquished by hate or fear, but by innocence and pure creation. It is a world where we can make mistakes, we can take risks, we can fall, but we can always pick ourselves back up, dust ourselves off, and learn from our mistakes, making them our experiences. For it is a world where failure is not a word in our vocabulary. I was too afraid. I was too scared to take risks, to learn from my experiences, to fall, making my actions the mistakes I forgot to make. While researching this philosophy, I realized that the only way for me to truly grow was for me to step back in to my child spirit. True growth is when our hate and helplessness towards societal norms transforms into maturity. When we realize that taking risks, making mistakes, and exploring this world that we only get to live once is the ideal way of making our life meaningful. This complex philosophy taught me something very simple: to not be afraid to fall. Whenever I'll make a mistake, I won't call myself a failure. Not anymore. Instead, I'll pick myself back up, dust myself off, and say, "Cut!" Let's take that again. Whenever I don't do my best in a race, I'll say, "Cut!" Let's take that again. Whenever I mess up an exam, I'll say, "Cut!" Let's take that again. When we fall, when we stumble, we won't call ourselves failures. Instead, we'll pick ourselves back up, dust ourselves off, and say it with me, "Cut. Let's take that again." Thank you.
Thank you, Rehan. Today, each speaker, in their own way, reminded us that mistakes, failures, and challenges are not signs of weaknesses, but stepping stones toward growth, understanding, and innovation. Humanity and technology alike share this truth. Progress is born from trial. Progress is born from reflection, and progress is born from resilience. Now, it is my pleasure to invite Devin Jayakodi to deliver the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing team, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event possible. First and foremost, we express our deepest appreciation to our chairman, Dr. Harsha Alas, for granting us the opportunity to host this TEDx event. And to our principal, Dr. Devika Aldis, for your unwavering encouragement and belief in our vision. This event could not have come to life without your continuous support. We would also like to thank our assistant principal, Mrs. Biret De Silva, Mrs. Chani De Silva, and Ms. Alana Gunasekara, and all other teachers for their assistance in making this event a success. We would also like to convey our sincere thanks to our generous sponsors for their invaluable contributions. Our bronze sponsors, Haley's Fentons, My Cola, Kavishka Munasinghe. Our silver sponsors, M Design, RJ Farm, Omega Line Group, Niduka Rupasinghe. And our gold sponsors, MM Engineering, Educo Pathways, and Vinhara Saputantiji. Your support played a vital role in making this event a resounding success. Our gratitude also goes to Sir Sural Galgamur and Pulse Sounds for their invaluable technical support, and to Fox Tribe Pictures for the videography that will allow us to relive and share these inspiring moments. A special thank you goes out to Jetwing Hotels for providing us with the necessary resources to host this event, and to the entire hotel staff for their dedication and professionalism in ensuring that everything ran smoothly. Finally, we extend our deepest appreciation to our speakers for sharing their insightful ideas and perspectives, and to all our participants and attendees for your enthusiasm, engagement, and support. Please accept this token of appreciation as a symbol of our gratitude.
On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our principal, Dr. Devika Aldis, for her constant guidance and encouragement. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to present this bouquet of flowers to Madam, in recognition of her invaluable support and encouragement. I kindly request our principal, Dr. Devika Aldis, to grace the stage.